Its government unveiled its first budget today, and it's also the first budget since this dramatic drop in oil prices, and it's bringing some major changes that affect all Albertans. So how does it affect you and your family? Tom Byrne is standing by at the legislature once again, and Tom, you have reaction there for us.
Yeah, that's right. So how does it affect your family? Well, taxes are going up across the province. Effective midnight tonight, there will be a number of new taxes and higher taxes tomorrow morning when we wake up and go to work. I'm joined by Scott Hennig from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation to talk a little bit more about the tax measures. $1.5 billion this year, $2.2 billion next year. Do you think this was necessary?
Well, I mean, I certainly think that they need to do something to balance the budget. Whether they should have done that all on the revenue side or even this much on the revenue side, no. I mean, this is not a spending, so this is not a revenue problem, it's a spending problem. We spend 11% more on a per person basis than British Columbia does. If we got our spending down to British Columbia levels, we wouldn't be talking about which taxes we're hiking today. We'd be talking about how much surplus we could save. I mean, it's really disappointing that taxes are going up by this much.
So let's talk about which taxes are going up. Let's start with the one that you say is the biggest one, is actually the 4 cents a litre on fuel. I mean, that's one that everybody will feel.
Yeah, I mean, we live in Canada. I mean, this is not London or New York where we all ride subways everywhere. This is Canada. It's cold. We need cars. Only 4 million people live in a massive province, and we drive a lot. And yeah, it's a $500 million. So it's a third of all of the extra tax revenue they're bringing in this year is just on this fuel tax increase. So midnight tonight it's going up 4 cents a litre. Now, while right now we're still happy that oil prices are low, well, not all of us are happy, but some of us are happy that our low oil prices have led to slightly lower gas prices. But as those things creep back up, we're going to have that another 4 cents hidden into that price.
On the income tax side, we're moving to a progressive income tax system. If you're making more than $100,000, you're up 0.5%. If you're making more than $250,000, it's up a full percentage point, and then subsequently over the next 3 years. Is that not a fair way to tax Albertans more money if you make more? That's how it is in most jurisdictions.
Well, that's the way it already is. I mean, while we did have a flat 10% tax rate because we have the most generous basic exemption. So essentially, the first $18,000 that you make in Alberta, you don't pay taxes on. That's the highest in the country. There's other places like Manitoba where it's only $8,000 or $9,000. So because of that, really we did have a fairly progressive income tax system where those at the high end do pay a lot more than those at the low end. So, but while they're tacking on that, I mean, I can appreciate that those are the people who can probably do this, but they're also the people that are the most mobile and able to pick up and move to another jurisdiction.
Lastly, I'll get you on this. We have about 30 seconds. There were some new tax credits introduced for lower income families that will save them particularly a large sum of money. Is that a move in the right direction, do you feel, reducing the tax burden on lower income families? Well,
I mean, certainly it'll help offset some of the taxes they can't avoid, like the fuel tax. I mean, probably, we tend to see some of the lower income people going to be hit with the tobacco taxes and liquor taxes as well. So I think that is a way to offset some of that, and they won't be feeling the pinch if you're under $50,000. You won't hit it. You won't be feeling as much as if you're over $50,000.
All right, thank you so much. That's Scott Hennig from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.
Why do I support the Canadian Taxpayers Federation?
Because families deserve a break.
Because someone has to keep our politicians honest.
Because honesty and hard work should be rewarded, not punished.
Alone, my voice may not be heard.
But together, our voices can't be ignored.